and listening to another Scoutcast from www.fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. And my name is Mark.
My name's Granville.
And my name's John T.
Good evening, gentlemen. How do I find you?
Yeah, good.
Right.
Well,
it's a bit nippy here in my shed, I've got to say. I've just had to turn the heater off because that would have been a bit of a background noise, and so it's going to get cold. Could be some icicles dropping off my red nose, so apologies for that.
Have you got your bed in the back there?
Yeah, it is a futon, so if I get cast out the house, then I've got somewhere I can live. So it hasn't quite come to that yet. The fantasy football obsession hasn't gone to those lengths, but it's just an emergency, just in case. Yeah, just in case it does go that far. Good evening and welcome to the Scoutcast. You are watching three gentlemen, or loosely termed gentlemen, talking about fantasy football. Tonight we've got plenty to get on. There's plenty of banter. Granville wants to get stuck into me, although really he hasn't got a leg to stand on, given that now the gap is just 3 points. He's been bullying Jonty on Twitter again as well, I hear, Jonty.
Mm-hmm. It's true, yeah. I've been social media bullied.
So Granville's in the mood. We're gonna discuss Delafeu's assist just to warn just to wind him up a little bit, because Granville missed out on that. He sent many an angry email as well, I hear. We're going to talk Aguero and the free strikers. Is there room for Aguero? My captain says maybe not. Sanchez and De Bruyne, we've got to discuss them. Are they on the way out? Sanchez 2 goals tonight. Does that change things? Probably. I know that Jonty's going to roll out his goals imminent table. Wouldn't be the same without that. He's got assist imminent as well. Jonty can't wait to get those stats thrown out there. We're going to talk about Liverpool's assets, and then we're going to look forward to the game week ahead, transfers, captains, and so on. So Granville, I 76 points for me, 47 for you. Suddenly, look at this, 3 points in it. What have you got to say for yourself?
Finally, you had a good week.
Yeah, finally, that's right. Harry Kane, first goals as a captain, other than Aguero's haul. Came my first goals from a captain, so
Didn't you say to me, it says, oh, you can look forward to the Scoutcast because you can make fun of my IU benching, which you managed to do. And then you put in brackets, unless Harry Kane goes mental. You said they sent this on the Monday, didn't you?
Yeah.
And what happened? Harry Kane went mental.
Well, I was absolutely gutted that I benched Ayew. You did it earlier in the season. Had I played Ayew, that would have been a terrific score. I would have been like in the 80s. It would have been amazing. So. Yeah, I missed out on that. That was Mane or Ayew, and I made the wrong decision. Earlier in the season, I went Ayew over Mahrez, made the wrong decision. It's very difficult with the fifth midfielder. We'll talk about that later on. But yeah, I'm not very good.
I think.
You reckon?
Yeah, I do. I think you should have played Ayew. It's not in hindsight or anything like that. It was mentioned a few times, and it was mentioned by Koeman that international week, Mane comes back, he's always tired, he's got a long trip.
Yeah. We
knew there was a chance of him not playing, and lo and behold, he didn't start.
The thing is, he got a knock, though. That was it. Koeman didn't. It wasn't because he was fatigued as such. He did have a knock as well, apparently. But then maybe Koeman's saying that because they suffered a home defeat. I don't know.
Listen, I'm going to hold my hands up here that I should have done the Aguero. I mean, it didn't make any difference points-wise, but it makes a difference having that. I could have done that transfer last week. And that was my transfer of Marshall to Aguero. I put on hold because I didn't fancy spending that 4 points when I knew that Aguero was only going to play 60 minutes. He did score, but the points are neutral, so it doesn't matter. So I've now transferred him in.
Well, as I made a very good move, let's talk about our transfers. So, Granville, what did you do this week? What was your transfer?
Well, I had to sell Payet because he's out for months. And I got in Delafeu. And it didn't work out.
No, I mean, now
some people went for Barkley. I think it was. Well, you look at the stats. Barkley's look pretty decent, but he hasn't done anything for weeks and weeks and weeks. I think it's only like game week 2. I think that was the last time he actually got a good score. So
yeah, and they got the 6 goals, didn't they? They got the 6 goals against Sunderland. He missed out completely, and Delafeu came good with Lukaku. This time it was the other way around, and maybe they are going to take it. It's hard to call, isn't it? We're talking about him later on, but
I felt that I needed to get an Everton player. Ideally, I would have got Lukaku, but the trouble is that it would have then cut me off getting Aguero, which is always the plan. So I thought that I'd skimp and go for Delafeu because he played pretty well. He's been playing internationals as well, and so he's in really good form. And he had a really good game as well. And he had that assist, which wasn't an assist according to Opta. Can argue about that. It was a shot on goal as far as I'm concerned, and even if it wasn't a shot on goal, it was it was on target and it was saved.
So how many emails did you send? Because you were straight on to me. You emailed me and going, oh come on, you got to find out about this. Did you fire off a few emails, a few tweets as well? Was it?
Yeah. I hit all the right people.
Didn't do any good, though, did it? Didn't do any good.
Because the thing is, once they made the decision, it's hard to get them to change it. Not that they would for like an underling like me, but
Look, listen, I have no influence. John T didn't see the assist, the assist, but he said, "I'll just agree with you, Mark, because just to wind you up, Granville."
Yeah, I'm pretty certain it wasn't an assist. After imagining the situation.
I think you're right, and John T, we're not going to make you say Delafeu because I know you struggle with that one.
No, I'm really disappointed there's controversy about him. I wish it had been about Barkley. I think he could pronounce.
I think I'm going to bring up the conspiracy theory as well that players with low ownership don't get the assists that they're due or the goals.
Okay, yeah.
2.3% makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at it. It was harsh. I mean, the thing is, Guzan pushed it away. For me, that was a shot. And the thing is, they're getting into the realms there of trying to imagine what the player's intent was, because that was so marginal. Yeah. I think they could have... But as it was you, then, it's fine by me. I think that was a correct decision, 100% correct. So there you go. You could have done with those points, so 47
I mean, it's 3 points. It wasn't... It's no big deal, really, let's face it. It wasn't going to make my my game week that much better. And then to cap it off, I had Joel Ward in the final game on the Monday, and they got to 80. It was about 81 minutes, and Mr. Scott Dan and Hennessy managed to balls it up and concede a goal. You could have never seen. I mean, I didn't expect Sunderland to score. I don't know. I mean, Palace aren't very good at home, are they? They when the onus is on them to attack, they really do struggle to open up things. They're much better on the break.
Right, I tell you what, Granville. At least you didn't have 2 Palace defenders, John T?
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yeah, that's one half of my game week. But I was just looking at it though. One of the reasons I got Dan in is I didn't actually think Ward was going to play. I still think that place is up for grabs with him and Kelly, and with Christmas coming up. Looking at Palace's fixtures over the festive period. They're pretty good, and Dan has got a header, and I quite fancy just getting one of those defenders where every time there's a set piece, he goes up, and you think it could be a goal here. I haven't actually got any of those. Back in the days, you used to get Vidic or Terry in his prime, and it's really quite exciting to watch a game and have one of those players. But I do disagree with Granville about Palace's form. 2 clean sheets out of 3 for their last 3 home games, so they were definitely getting better. Plus, they were against Sunderland. There's only 3 teams that have scored less away than Sunderland. So basically, one slip up cost them.
I must admit, I wasn't watching the match, but I was looking at the text and going, "That's a 0-0." And John T's got his points, and exactly. he's gonna go above me. I mean, you had a pretty average game week, 57 points.
But the other half of the week, let's not dwell on Scott Dan. Let's have a look at Romelu Lukaku, my other transfer in. Put the armband on him. Absolute fantastic. Now he's someone who did deliver the goals, and it's all about Lukaku and Kane this week. You have them, you do well. If you don't, you don't do well. So that's the story of the game week, and as we will find out later with Rough with the Smooth.
Yeah, and obviously Granville is setting his heart on Aguero. I've heard the lad's quite good, but he's obviously setting his heart on him. Not for you, John T, at the moment. Are you kind of more mid-term?
There's 2 things. I mean, there's one. I don't rule out getting him. The way my team is shaped up, it's just a bit tricky, and also I think I like to go back to the 5th midfielder and get some options, which could include getting Aguero. But at the moment, and we're going to discuss this later, there's plenty of other strikers that I'm looking at, and I'm very glad I've got Lukaku in. And there's some others who I think could be on a par, perhaps better than Aguero. But
we'll talk Kane versus Aguero, Mark versus Granville very soon when we touch on that. Should we talk about Rough with the Smooth? Should we look at some community members and see how they did?
Yes, indeed. So let's get these smooth ones out of the way. Rusty.
I guess they're all Kane owners, weren't they?
Yeah, well, Lukaku or Kane. So let's go. Rusty BZ, Andy 85 WSM, our guest from last week. and Jaffalicious, all those that either got Lukaku in or captained him did well. Jigger and Pony got Kane in for Pella, and also benched Mane, so he was aware of that and played AU, so a bit of opposite there.
I see onside 9 got Coutinho in for Payet there.
Yeah, this was a good one. Coutinho, so Granville's old mate here. Granville managed to ditch him just before he became a scoring sensation, and pretty much every week he's done well since, which is great.
Granville said to me today that Coutinho's probably his worst ever transfer. Is that right, Granville? You officially now giving him that stamp?
4 goals in 3 games since I sold him. I mean, what could be worse? It's just unbelievable. And it's cost me, about 30 points because the player I got in for him was KDB, and he's done absolutely jack since I got him. It's just really awful. So I mean, I have looked at getting Coutinho back, but it's just one of those that I'm kind of like, as soon as I get him back, he'll stop scoring.
Will he come back though? He's got no respect for you now. He'll just, he won't be able to look you in the eye now, will he? So you'll never get the most out of him. So difficult.
No, I know. It's too late. It's too late. I've missed out on those points, and that has cost me. I mean, that's cost me my gap with you.
Yeah.
You mentioned all those smooths. You didn't mention anyone who's bought Barkley. I mean, there have been a few.
I didn't, but it's because none of the community came forward really with that. But I want to say my main mini league, as much as it's nice with the contributors and moderators league, I do have a kind of a main mini league which has money amongst friends. And I could not believe that almost every single one of the top 10 got Barkley, and they did pay it for Barkley without fail. These are people from around the world. No connections. They all did pay it to Barkley.
No, Johnson, they had a secret meeting when you were on here last week.
I missed the memo that said get Barkley in for his 19 points. I could not. I'm still looking at it now. I just think, how did that? So yeah. Anyway, they're smooth bunch, annoyingly.
Okay, so apart from Granville, who else had a rough game week?
GHB brought in Smalling for a hit, got rid of Skirtle.
Oh.
He did that with 2 minutes to spare Saturday, so if his clock had been wrong...
The logic of that, though, it looks like the right move, doesn't it? Still at City, what's the chances?
Yeah. Runatic took a hit to ditch Kolarov, who did get an assist, O'Shea, clean sheet, Begovic, clean sheet, and he got in Rojo, Mertesacker, and David De Gea. So,
is that bad? I'm just looking at these. Is that bad? Begovic, I suppose, got a clean sheet.
Begovic got a clean sheet, O'Shea clean sheet, Kolarov assist, Rojo, Mertesacker, De Gea nothing.
Points, so.
It's better than the...
Yeah, it's better than nothing. I was happy with that.
But Cruel Runnings probably is the roughest of the lot, eh? We talked about Barkley. He benched the lad, 19 points on the bench. That's a lot. That puts my Mahrez and Mata bench points to shame, definitely.
Exactly, that makes my AU decision look alright. Oh dear, that's painful.
Even the Kane one from last year, which I always mentioned, the 18 points, 19 points, wow. And it's also differential as well. It's not like Kane wasn't that much of a differential, but blimey, 19 points, that would really kill. And the thing, I wonder if it's his first sub as well. So one of those that you're hoping he gets to Sunday or Monday, you're going, I hope Kane, stubs his toe or something and misses the game. I was thinking that actually on Monday, Mark, that I thought, you know what's going to happen? Kane isn't going to start that game on Monday, and you'll get all our used points
on the Sunday. Yeah, I
was going like, please, Kane, play, please.
Well, I was in one of those situations where I was hoping that Mane did have an injury and wouldn't come on, but of course he did. He came on for the point, didn't he? That was the thing. I must talk about my Kane transfer as well, because last week I spoke that I was going to get Scott Dan in, I think, for Schlupp, basically. I was going to do a defensive. And then I did put it out there that I might go Pellet again. And at 11:30 I was in the supermarket buying some hummus and some various middle class goods, and I had to stop the trolley with the kids. And Pip went, what are you doing? What are you doing? I said, I've got to do something really important. Something important's come up. And so she goes, okay, well, I'll go off and buy something else. I'll go and buy a copy of The Guardian or something like that. And you watch Billy in the trolley. So there I was. Actually, I know it was a pushchair. And there I was with the phone. And I put Kane in with about 4 minutes to go. 4 minutes to go. I mean, because the first time I tried it, it failed. It didn't go through, and it hung. And I was like, if I can't get a signal, then I got him in. Then I couldn't make him captain. It was so dramatic. Minutes to go, made it. So that was it was actually a last-minute decision to go Pella to Kane for me. I noticed Jack Felicius did the same move, you know, and that made the game week. But it was a supermarket transfer, I like to call them, last-minute supermarket transfer, touch and go. So Granville, you nearly got away with it.
I know.
That doesn't make you feel any better, does it?
Mine was the other way around, actually. I forgot to do my transfer because I think it's Friday night, Friday and Saturday morning. I was thinking about should I spend the 4 to get Aguero in for Marshall, and I actually missed the deadline. And in the end, it doesn't make that much difference. But I was kind of really worried that Aguero was going to do more. I mean, he scored that goal, and I was just thinking, oh no, please don't get another, please don't. It wasn't too bad in the end, but it's the first FPL deadline I've missed this season. I've missed plenty of UFPL ones.
Well, you don't deserve your Delafeu points, and if you're missing deadlines, Jonty, Aguero, strikers. Let's get onto it. There's a big number of questions.
Yeah, so there's a lot of questions there. Let's kind of rattle through the questions first, and then we can spend a bit of time having a look to see, you know, which are the best ones to get. So Rusty BZ, again, should we go for Kane, Lukaku, and Aguero? So real premium front line, or just 2 of those enough? Beavis is worried about Aguero rotation over Christmas, and are Kane, Lukaku, and perhaps Vardy, sticking with Vardy enough? HVT, are those without Kane, who have just got Aguero in, looking at a missed opportunity to profit from the Spurs man? I think Mark might have some views on that. And our friend Disable asks, is it time to ditch Vardy, considering the fixtures? And Adam West follows that up with, is it time to bail out on Leicester, because they do have some tough fixtures? So, I mean, looking at that lot now, basically we're looking at which are the 3 best strikers, really. So, I mean, Mark, who would your trio be?
Well, I updated the watch list today, and it was difficult because I've got Lukaku, Vardy, and Kane, and at the moment I don't see where I'm going to find room for Aguero right now, which seems crazy, and it will turn out to be a mistake, I'm sure. But I just think, you know, Lukaku at the moment in the fixtures, he's delivering on those. Vardy, he seems to be scoring every game. Is it my imagination, or is he scoring every game? It's almost like he scored in the last 10 matches or something ridiculous like that. And then you've got you know, Lukaku, Aguero, and Vardy together. You can fit those 3 in, have money to invest elsewhere. Crucially, the difference between Kane and Aguero is 3.4 or 3.3 million. That's a lot of money. I don't know if Aguero is going to be 3.3 or 3.4 better than Kane in the next 3 or 4 games. That's the question. And you know, it's tough because we've seen Kane last year go on this streak where he did a Vardy and didn't stop scoring. Got assists as well. City 3 goals in 4 matches. I know they haven't had Aguero, but there's doubts now at the moment over them. Yeah, and they need him back too. Now,
yeah, I feel
Granville, clearly you're going for Aguero.
I feel that we were on the opposite sides because I think over the last few years you've always gone for the obvious, like that Aguero, and I've been the one who's looking for the differential and not going for Aguero, and I've missed out a few of his points. This time I didn't want to, you know, I just wanted to get him in straight away. So we're actually on the opposite, and plus you're trying to convince yourself that you'll be able to cover Aguero's points. It might happen, but the trouble is with the captaincy is that sometimes it can be bad. I mean, this year Aguero hasn't actually produced, other than that hole he got against Newcastle. You know, they've had fail after fail after fail, captain fails. So he hasn't been quite as reliable as he has been in the last couple of seasons. But still, it's a thing that's nagging away at you, and at some point he is going to get a big score, and people have him captained, and you won't even have him. That's the difficulty. It's all right having him and not captaining him, but if you don't have him and you don't captain him, that's quite a big, you know, a lot of points. If you think that Lukaku and Kane can keep on delivering, then you've got 2 players for a similar price, well, plus 3 million. So you're actually getting better value, but I just don't know. It's tough, particularly with the captaincy.
Jonty, what do you think? I mean, you're reserving judgment, are you?
I'm reserving judgment. I mean, Lukaku and Kane are obviously in absolute tip-top form. I mean, and you know, if you're looking at shots inside the box, shots on target, Kane absolutely top. You know, Vardy, Lukaku following close behind. They're absolutely murdering all of the stats charts there. I think it's actually hard to go without Kane and Lukaku at the moment, judging by their fixtures and their form. They've got the magic ingredient there. it's for me, it would be a question of is Aguero better than Vardy? Yes, of course he is. He's Sergio Aguero, but it's that price difference really. I've got Lukaku and Vardy. I can't see me shifting either of them at the moment. Perhaps Vardy if his form wavers, but it's Kane. I want in at the moment. Kane, not this particular week, but after Chelsea. Just hope he can't do another hat-trick, and I think Kane would be the one I'll be looking at. Just looking at immediate fixtures of who I would captain. So, game week, the next game week against Southampton, that's a tricky one, potentially a tricky one for Aguero. I can't see that being a goal fest. You never know with him, but, I'd be looking at, Lukaku, Bournemouth away. That's on paper a better fixture. Then you look at game week 15, and you look at Tottenham away to West Brom. And then you look at Everton at home to Palace. Now, Palace can be tricky away, obviously, but they're both good. And then there's another name we haven't mentioned, and I'm not talking long-term over Christmas, but for the next 2 or 3 weeks. Something I noticed on Match of the Day, Troy Deeney being interviewed after the Manchester United game, he said, okay, anything we get in this game's a bonus. It's the next 3 we're looking at.
Yeah, they got good fixtures,
and the next 3 are Aston Villa away, Norwich at home, and Sunderland away, and he's right there. And I think Ighalo. I think if it's someone for the next 2 or 3, I think Kane, Lukaku, Ighalo would probably be the optimum. Then have a think about Aguero.
So you're not backing Vardy. Because the thing is, Granville, you don't have Morris. You can't possibly be thinking of getting rid of Vardy because you won't have any Leicester cover at all.
No. Well, this is the thing. If we're talking about Leicester. I think it's probably time to. If you've got 2 Leicester players, I think that's too much. But I did say this 2 weeks ago when I sold Mahrez, and this week he got 9 points. I don't know how. Oh yeah, he got an assist in there and the bonus.
Yeah, and then maximum bonus. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Mahrez to Mane one didn't work out at all, unless Mane starts scoring. But no, I've got Vardy, and I'm actually quite comfortable captaining him as well, which I've done for the last 2 weeks. And plus, it's getting behind him as well. I think I'm quite liking to get that record, even though it's against Van Nistelrooy.
And against United next week as well.
I know exactly. So it's like perfect, perfect platform for him. I think you definitely have to look at getting rid of. Leicester's fixtures are horrific. They've had an easy start really for the fixtures, and now they completely turn around.
Yeah, you say that, but United, Swansea away, Chelsea at home, Everton
they're all
away.
good defences. It's not.
Yeah, they're tough games.
They could win those games, but they're all. United have got, I think, the best defensive record in the league. The players Swansea haven't got. They're not actually that bad. When I looked at them, they haven't. They're kind of like in the top 10 in clean sheets, and they're playing City and Chelsea. They're not going to score enough goals really to justify them both, I don't think.
That's a brave man to predict that Leicester won't score enough goals. I don't know. I think we need to see them put to the test. I think you're right. They've had easier fixtures at the start of the season, and they've made the most of them. Let's see. United's going to be a big test. If Vardy and Mahrez rip it up against United, that kind of proves that the fixtures may not be an issue. And the other thing is, Vardy's not going to get rested, is he? Kane's never going to get rested. Kane, injuries aren't a problem for Kane anywhere near as much as Aguero. So this is what I'm thinking. It's not just the money; it's the Tottenham can't not play Kane in any match. They're going to have to flog him over Christmas. I can't see them ever starting without him. Whereas Man City, I know that Beavis asked about rotation over Christmas, and I think that there is the danger of him missing one game. We looked at it and went, there's the Boxing Day fixture against Sunderland, and then the Leicester away game after that. Very close together. Is Aguero going to play every single game over Christmas?
We always mention this. We talk about this every single year, and he doesn't get rested that often. He really doesn't. The thing is, Champions League, they've already qualified, so that's not going to stop him playing Aguero. What they're going to rest him for? Rest him to stop him getting injuries. Well, he can get an injury in any game. And Bonnie hasn't really. You'd expect him to, be the cover, but he's not a good enough cover. He's not as good as actually Dzeko or Balotelli or any of the previous strikers have had. I don't think he certainly hasn't really, done that much for him. And plus he's injured at the minute. So I think Aguero's fit. He plays.
Yeah, John, do you agree?
I've made that mistake before, thinking that he wouldn't play because 3 games in a week, but he ends up playing them all.
Well, we'll see.
No, I agree. I think he will. I think he will play because there isn't much alternative. The question is how many minutes he gets midweek. He's already said he won't play. He can't play 2 to 3 games in a week. So if he plays significant minutes midweek, then I think he'll play on Saturday, depending on whether Bonnie is back. But I can't see him lasting much more than about 70 minutes, maybe 60. Now we know that's enough for him. But I know we're going to come on to midfielders in a bit, and I think part of the thing about not going for Aguero is making sure you have some kind of, if he is going to go crazy with goals, that you've got someone who's going to assist him. So, for example, in game week 8, there were people without Aguero, and obviously they did. But if they had Silva and De Bruyne and captain one of them, they probably wouldn't have actually missed out on too much points, really. Maybe 10 points, 15, but it's not kind of cataclysmic fullback. So, I mean, we know what Sergio Aguero is capable of, though, and there is always that fear there's going to be another game week 8 in him at some point.
Well, I'm going to roll the dice. I think I said when I committed to Kane that's it. I'm going to go without Aguero. And probably until the wild card. So let's see if I can make it through to then. Let's see if I can put that to a test, because it is going to be a rough Christmas for me watching Man City playing without Aguero at all. And
can I make a
Grandpa's going to enjoy that. Go on then.
You'll get him in within the next couple of weeks. I haven't said that before, have I?
No, you never said that about Tony Marshall, who's still rotting away in your team there. Who's probably gone now as we speak. Probably not in your team anymore. What a raging success that was for you, Granville. Well, let's see if John Taylor.
He scored a couple of goals.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Kane did that for me on Sunday in one match. But
we only had him 1 week.
Yeah, I know, exactly. There you go. I don't know. I know. I think you're probably right. I think I may well regret it, but I think I've got to do it and try and mix it up a bit and going with Kane and maybe keeping De Bruyne. We'll talk about De Bruyne in a moment. John T, next question.
Yeah, midfielders now. So we've talked about strikers. So there's a couple of things that kind of link in a bit. So Theatre of Screams asks, how long can we justify holding on to Sanchez? Well, this was before his 2 goals. He penned that question today. So and Mambo asks about 5th midfield options as well. So we kind of lump that in with that as well, because we're looking for most expensive and the cheapest. So I mean, Granville, what's your thoughts on Sanchez, and what's your thoughts on a 5th midfielder? I don't know if you've got a 5th midfielder.
No, well, I guess I can bench Ayew the odd time, or Delafeu, but I don't consider them any. I consider them all playable. But that way, Ayoze is probably not playable now. I mean, he's really let me down a couple of times. The only time he's scored any points was that time that I benched him. So it's been a bit of a disaster. Sanchez, well, it's just one of those that you know that at some point he's going to explode and get a big haul, and he's done that a couple of times this season. Missing out, I'd just be afraid to miss out on him. I know that Ozil's the consistent one, and he's actually outscoring him now. It's just that you can't really captain Ozil. You can captain Sanchez, maybe not in this form, but he scored. If he scored another couple of goals tonight, he could be on another run again. Arsenal, funny team, aren't they? They look like the world beaters 1 minute, and then the next one they go to West Brom and just gonna trip up.
The thing is, with Aguero coming in for you, do you care about the Sanchez captain? Because surely this is a good chance for you to actually go Ozil for that very reason.
Yeah, you might be right there, actually. Because I could make a second transfer, which I'm thinking of doing. I am worried about Lukaku, to be honest with you. I mean, I can't afford Kane, but I am worried about Lukaku, because he's just in such great form. Do I want to try and cover him? I was actually thinking maybe I could cover him if I get Barkley as well, and then just cover all. Try and cover Lukaku with 2 midfielders. Yeah,
it's not quite the same, is it, as going Silva and De Bruyne to cover Aguero?
No. Well, I think with Silva, what you're saying is, if you don't have Aguero, you can probably cover his points, but they're not cheap options, though, Silva and De Bruyne. That's the trouble. You'd be. You'll end up with one game when Aguero's scoring goals and they're not a system, not doing anything.
Yeah, I mean the thing is for me, Sanchez is too risky, isn't it? I mean I know I like Ozil as a fantasy asset at the moment, I'm not that keen on him. I much prefer to watch Sanchez from a fantasy point of view because I can get to, he's more likely to score in my view. And I don't know. I don't want to watch Arsenal matches and not have Sanchez, as well as watching City matches and not having Aguero.
Wouldn't he be? I mean, if you wanted to, if Aguero say scores a couple of goals at the weekend, and you think I've got to have him, I can't go without him. You must have a plan. A 4 or 8 point plan to actually get Aguero there.
Well, I can go De Bruyne to a budget to a fifth mid, and Johnson's going to roll out some names. It's an easy one to do. But then who do I sell? Do I sell Kane for Aguero?
Well, this is the thing. You're in that position now where you wouldn't want to sell any of them. And it's tricky, but if they're scoring, then it's not really a problem for you. I think it'd be always in the back of your mind, and I won't let you. I won't let you forget it.
Well, I'm certainly not selling Sanchez at the moment, particularly after his goals tonight. And I do worry about Norwich away on Saturday, though, because Wenger wants to rest him. But, John, you've got a theory it's impossible, isn't it? Sanchez just don't want to know.
Yeah, I mean, Wenger's always saying that he's saying, he talks to him about it, saying, I think I might rest you this week. He basically tells him to do one and then just plays. So I think Wenger can't say no to him. So, he's just always going to play if he wants to. I don't know whether he, I don't know, he's got some dirt on him or something, but I think he's just a big aggressive man, maybe. But yeah,
look at Norwich game though. Like he's played tonight. I don't know if he's finished the game, but he scored 2 goals. So Norwich away, can he rest him there? I mean, he's got Ramsey on the bench tonight, but Ramsey will come in for Campbell. I don't think Oxlade-Chamberlain's going to be fit. Walcott probably isn't going to be back, so he can't rest him, can he?
Well, hang on. Have we got who's played? Because Arteta's injured as well. As Coughlin's out.
Yeah.
Arteta's injured.
Yeah.
Flamini, did he play tonight?
I'm not sure.
I just wonder whether Ramsey will play centre midfield.
Flamini did play tonight, yeah, the full 90 minutes.
So I would have thought that Ramsey will come in for Campbell on the right wing, and then he'll have to play Sanchez because he's got no other options at the moment. And I don't know. I can't see maybe it's the Sunderland game. Maybe I own Sunderland if Oxlade-Chamberlain's back, or maybe when Walcott gets back for that game or the Villa game. It will come. I think Sanchez will get a rest, but most of us have got a decent fifth mid and we can absorb it. So I think keeping Sanchez is the option.
I mean, it's just Arsenal have good fixtures, really. I mean, the next couple, and then I know they've got City, haven't they, in a few weeks. I think they get a bit more difficult. I think in a couple of weeks I'll reassess it when the fixtures stiffen up a bit. But for now, I haven't got the transfers to spare. That's the problem. I'm being forced into transfers through injuries, such as Payet and Marshall, so I've got no choice unless I start spending points.
Jonty, what about you? I mean, where do you stand on it? You keeping?
Sanchez, yeah, I'm going to keep him for the time being. I think he's fine. I mean, I'm interested in getting Özil as well. I think over the next 2 or 3, I think Özil and Sanchez is good. And then when
a couple out, are you?
Yeah, when the fixtures stiffen up, then just ditch the one that's perhaps not performing. I mean, Özil was so reliable. I mean, he's getting like 8, 9, 10 points every week. He's getting the bonus, he's getting assists, and he scored tonight, so he's got the odd goal in him. For me, he's not going anywhere. I mean, I think for me the fifth midfielder is a bit more interesting. It's something I want to go back to. I don't like this. I mean, I have benched Mata, Mahrez. I mean, it just goes on. I mean, I'd like to have a fifth midfielder who's quite good. I've got my eye on a few. Goals imminent table.
Here it comes.
Here it is. Here it comes. And it's absolutely chock-a-block for the Bournemouth assets. Yeah. So Matt Ritchie, top of that. So Ritchie's top of that. 14 goal attempts, just the 1 goal. And then Gosling as well. He's been going a bit under the radar, but 12 goal attempts. We've got Sanchez in there, so he's still clinging in. Costa's in there. Kabai's in there, but his shots have been absolutely woeful, quite far out. But another Bournemouth, Josh King. Now, going back, Eden Hazardous was amongst those who got him in for this week. He got that goal. We said on the site he would. We said he was going to play up front. We said he had very good, strong shots on target. For a fifth midfielder, yeah, I'm considering one of them. And one more name to put in that, who's not on this goals imminent list, James, is Morrison at West Brom. Got another goal. He's one of those players that is a very nice George Boydie type fifth midfielder. He's going to play. He's always got the odd goal in him. He's only 4.8, so it doesn't matter if he hasn't.
Blimey. I remember one year I put him in the picks and he actually did score, and everyone thought I was some kind of soothsayer. It was an incredible result. It's like when you pick Chris Brunt for the picks and he gets an assist. You look like a fortune teller. If Morrison comes in with a goal against West Ham, which is possible the way West Ham are playing, John T, you deserve the plaudits for that one.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that Andy was on the Scoutcast last week, Granville, and he actually tipped Gosling. Well, we were all talking about Josh King, and he was in there with a Gosling pick. Bang, there he is, delivers.
Yeah.
So hats off to Andy.
I've been looking at Josh King actually the last couple of weeks. But I ended up, because I got Delafeu last week, but I was going to, if you remember the Scoutcast, I was talking about Lanzini. Well, he went and scored, didn't they?
Yeah.
But it's because I needed an Everton player to get Delafeu or Barkley. But I was looking at Josh King. Still might get him, though. I mean, it is a way to upgrade my my other striker, downgrade De Bruyne to get Aguero and get Josh King and get Lukaku or Kane even. I need to stop you, Mark. You come right back at me.
You need to do something. The worm has turned, definitely. Right, KDB, internal error, says, is it time to get rid? Now, I can't. There's no way I can entertain the idea of getting rid of KDB while I haven't got Aguero. And while you're looking at Ozil and Sanchez, I've got to look at, like you say, John T, Silva and De Bruyne to try and back that up. And you know, there isn't that option with Kane. You could go Eriksen, but I don't know. I do like Eriksen, I love him as a player, but I don't trust him. Can I trust De Bruyne, Granville? What do you reckon? It's
expensive though, isn't it? Because you talk about Silva, what is he, 10? De Bruyne 10.5. That's expensive cover for Aguero. At least Ozil's like 9 million. Yeah, he's a little bit less.
I think for me, though, I'll eventually wait for Lukaku to go off the boil, and then that's when I sell Lukaku maybe for Nagalo, and then I've got the money to get Silva in. I don't think I can do it yet, but I like Jonty says, I've got to look at that option. Jonty, what about yourself? You love a bit of Silva, don't you?
Yeah, oh God, I don't think I'll go back there again. Yeah, I think with De Bruyne and Aguero, I think having too much, both of them is a luxury, considering Sanchez might become a captaincy option again. You've got Kane and Lukaku. I think that's too much money. If they have another disaster like they did against Liverpool, you're looking at 23, 24 million of your team value tied up in two players who are getting you 2 points. Over to assists imminent though, De Bruyne, he's there. It's a very small table this week, but it's just Willian and De Bruyne. So De Bruyne's up there. He replaces Eriksen, who you may have noticed scored a few assists, so went off in style. So could he follow in Eriksen's footsteps? Personally, I wouldn't be ditching him this week, put it that way, but definitely one to monitor.
The thing is, I watched him in the game, and obviously City were easily second best throughout, but De Bruyne was putting in crosses of such quality. You just think he is going to deliver to Aguero more often or not. I think everyone's saying Silva's going to come in. He's going to be the one that's going to steal the assist. I don't know. De Bruyne's crosses are something else.
Yeah, well, so's a Kolarov, but maybe the two. I don't know. They are in the right place, but they don't seem to have anyone on the end of them. I mean, it's happened most of the season, particularly Kolarov. I think I don't think there's anyone else from City. I think it's Silva. I think De Bruyne is a bit of a luxury actually. If you've already got another City player, and I'll be kind of looking to get rid of him. I think that unless we start getting the assist and goals, which is really nice. And you get an assist from one of your players and a goal from the other. That'd be nice. But I won't captain him. I don't think. So I don't think I necessarily need him. I think you do need to keep him.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Liverpool, John T. A few questions on this.
Yeah, so great name from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I think. Slarty Bartfast asks Coutinho or Firmino. So yes, Coutinho's Brazilian teammate has come in and suddenly hoist himself on the radar. And then Guna Kebabs asks, where the devil does Henderson fit into all of this?
What about Sturridge and Benteke? Where do they go?
Where are they going to fit in? Where are they going to fit in? I mean, for me, when Granville, to be fair to Granville, when he got rid of Coutinho just before all his points, I did agree with that decision. He's one of those annoying players. Something has happened, obviously. Klopp has really done something with him, and perhaps he is now one of those great goal-scoring midfielders. This new chap, Firmino, as well. So I would say, yeah, they've got quite good fixtures coming up. For me, just the way my team has worked out is not for me, but I would definitely advise someone to consider a Liverpool attacking asset. Swansea at home, Newcastle away, West Brom at home, Watford away, and then they've got Leicester at home, and then Sunderland away. I mean, it just gets better and better. I mean, that's
excellent fixtures, excellent. I mean, they're maverick moves. The thing is, I looked at Coutinho's stats because I did an article on him today, and I was like expected to see Klopp's been in place since game week 9 to 13, so he's had 5 game weeks. So I did a comparison of Coutinho game weeks 1 to 8 to 9 to 13, thinking that I'd see big swell of green on Coutinho under Klopp. No. In fact, he actually has regressed a bit, so he's not having any more shots under Klopp than he did
but he's more
before.
He's in the box a little bit more.
But he's obviously being allowed to get into areas that he wasn't before. That must be it.
Also getting the breaks. I mean, I'd say every you see that a lot with goals. The ball can just bounce in the box. I mean, when he got those 2 goals against, who was it against in the first game that got rid of him? It's just the ball fell to him in a nice position.
Against Chelsea, yeah.
Yeah, against Chelsea, of course it was. It's interesting. At the beginning of the season, everyone was talking about Milner, as a
Not me. No,
I was a 4th or 5th midfielder, and Henderson, but Henderson obviously got injured, and it's completely changed round. So I don't know where to go with Liverpool really. I mean, Firmino is expensive. He's 8 million, and he hasn't. I know he's been involved a little bit, but do you really want to spend 8 million on him at the minute?
I'll tell you what, if I had 0.1 in the bank, I'd be going Mane to Firmino this week.
Yeah.
I really would. I just can't do it. I do want.
It's just that he hasn't played. I mean, he gets hauled off as well. Don't forget, he doesn't play full games.
I know, but I don't know. In that home to Swansea, the way Liverpool played at City, you've got to think they're going to be confident there. I mean, what's he going to do with Benteke and Sturridge? What's your view on that, John? Where's he going to do with those 2 strikers?
Well, it all depends. Is he going to play both at the same time? Unlikely. So it's going to be one of them. So you've got to imagine that Sturridge is fit. So if Sturridge is actually fit and Benteke is fit at the same time, which of those 2 is going to get the starts, or is either of them? Is one of them going to just come on? It's an absolute minefield for fantasy managers. That's what's stopping me really getting any of them in. I mean, who is going to be hauled off after 60 minutes? Who is going to start? It's very difficult to say. The trouble is they've got such great fixtures coming up. We really want those answers. So, I mean, I think maybe listening to some of Klopp's press conferences, trying to get some steer on what he's planning. Bib theories have been quite good with Liverpool in recent years. So that's the theory of looking at their bib colours in training of a Friday. So yeah, it's for me other fires to fight, but yeah, I would definitely think it'd be a wise move just taking a punt on one of them. Yeah,
I think Henderson will come in, I think, for Shan eventually, or he may replace Lucas, I suppose. He's going to play. He's got to. The club skipper going to play, and he's well equipped for the Klopp game. But whether he's a fancy asset now, I don't know. Start of the season when Coutinho was still like, well, he's the maverick talent, but do we go for him? It's obviously Coutinho's the option now. So Henderson marginalised, I would say, unless he starts coming in, gets penalties and so on. I don't see it. I don't fancy it really.
We all have Moreno as well, don't we?
Yeah.
He's done absolutely nothing to.
Wait for that. Look at the fixtures. Look at the way he's getting forward. He's going to do us all right, Moreno. And I notice he's gone up to 4-9 now. People are getting him in, and
there's just no clean sheet backup, is there, with Liverpool at the minute? They're not really. And I know they're conceding every single game. I don't know. Have they kept a clean sheet under Klopp at all?
They kept a couple, early on. First game.
Spurs game, but that was I don't think they've kept another clean sheet.
Yeah, but look at these games: Swansea at home, Newcastle away, West Brom at home. Those 3 teams just can't score goals, can they? So if they're going to keep cleanies, it's coming. I mean, I'm even looking at bringing in Lovren. There you go. I know, exactly.
Did he not get injured? I thought you had got a hamstring, or was that just cramp?
He's in the mix, and he for me, I can afford him. I can bring him in, and I can double up on Liverpool for these games. I don't know. I mean, it's silly talk, but last week's brave talk worked, so I may well do it. But yeah, Moreno's going to deliver. Don't worry about that. And I think Klein as well. The only thing with Klein, he's on the tightrope, so Yeah, and he's 5'5", very expensive. Moreno bargain, I think. Next one, John T.
Well, I think we've already really covered Everton. Really, it's French Goon who asked about Deulofeu and Barkley. I think we pretty much kind of covered that. Really, it's obvious that Barkley's the best, and anyone with Deulofeu is going to be consigned to the history books. But
amazing,
well pronounced.
Amazing how 1 week changes everything.
No, I still think Deulofeu is in the mix. I do. I think it's very close for those two.
I know Barkley's actually scored. He scored 2 goals. He scored first week, second week. He did score against Arsenal, and then 2 goals. So yeah, he scored 5 goals, which isn't bad for him. But he's only had one. He's had two double pointers. Yeah, there you go.
The thing is, Deulofeu's form is just outstanding, and Barkley. He can't. He's still hot and cold. I just think at the moment it is closer than people think. You're right. It's one of those balancing. It's like the Palace midfielders. You know, which one do you go for at any one time? It always shifts. Kabay, Balassi, sometimes Zaha.
Punching.
Yeah, Punching in there. We don't mention Punching because Jonty starts feeling nauseous. Yeah, it's difficult. Okay, Shelby asks, with Coquelin out, does it change our view on Bellerin? I think it does. I was on the verge. I see Kolarov went up to 5'9". I was rubbing my hands thinking, right, I can do the Kolarov to Bellerin switch, which the way City defending looks favourable. But when Coquelin got the injury, I'm thinking twice about that. I mean, Bellerin owner, John T, what do you reckon?
Well, the thing is, it's such a small sample. How do we know? I mean, Coquelin is a great defensive midfielder for Arsenal, so the assumption is they're going to be worse off. But we don't really know because he's played so many games. He very rarely doesn't play for Arsenal in recent years. So we actually just don't know how they'll survive. We can only assume that they're going to be worse off. I think with Bellerin, I think we're going to be okay because he's got that attacking threat, and because the next 3 or 4 fixtures are good. I think that there is plenty of opportunity there for him to get assists as well as potential clean sheet points. But I mean, this was discussed on the site on Fantasy Football Scout today, and it was pointed out that we simply don't know. People were just assuming, and it's always wrong to assume these things. We don't know at this stage. We will know after Norwich, though. If Norwich can get a couple of goals past them, then we know that it's
I don't think they're going to capitulate, but I do think they're less robust without Coquelin.
Yeah, exactly. They're just not solid. They can't be solid without a player like that. It's the same. United. I mean, United all of a sudden looked solid this season with the same back four as they had last season. And it's basically because of Schneiderlin, in particular, and Schweinsteiger. So the covering midfielder, defensive midfielder, is so important. I don't think Arteta's as good as Coquelin.
Well, he's struggling as well. They're going to have to play Firmini in that role, unless they play without change.
Firmini definitely not. So I think that and also if they haven't got his attacking threat will be affected as well. I would have thought because he won't have as much cover because he gets everywhere. Coquelin. If they haven't got as a mobile midfielder like that to actually cover for Bellerin when he gets forward, Bellerin isn't going to get us forward as much. No.
Interesting theories from Granville. I still think it's tempting. If Clichy plays in midweek for City, then I'll keep Kolarov. But if Kolarov rolled out in Europe, I'm worried about him for the week.
No, I think that will happen. I think Clichy will play.
Good. Well, I want him to, because that'll mean Kolarov will come back in at the weekend, so that's fine.
Well, but it's getting Clichy ready for when he takes over from Kolarov.
No, don't see it. I think Pellegrini likes Kolarov in that team. I think he's first choice. I think he will rotate him, but it'll be 1 in 3, maybe 1 in 4. And I think Clichy hopefully will get the European game, and then we'll see Kolarov back in for the Southampton game. And without Pella, there's a good chance for clean sheet. So I'll probably hold 1 more week and keep an eye on Bellerin, but I think there's something in that. Any other questions out there, John T? You've got one about Christmas, and that's coming up, isn't it? I've heard about that.
Yeah, Num asks what's on our Christmas list, fantasy football wise, and also in real life. So.
Well, I guess I've got to hope that a couple of rests for Aguero's on my Christmas list for FBL, because it might be the only way I can get through Christmas without having a nightmare. So I'll go for that. I'll go for Pellegrini, having Aguero on the timber next to him a couple of times. That'll be a nice Christmas present for me. What about you, Granville?
Oh, I don't know, maybe a Lukaku niggle or something like that.
Oh, you can't wish an injury on Lukaku.
No, niggle.
A
That's
niggle.
Right,
okay.
I'm not talking about a career-threatening injury. I'm talking about just A little Bruce Hill or something.
Okay, well that might be enough. Might be enough to keep him out. But no, Lukaku's unstoppable. John T, what have you got on your FPL?
I will repeat it this week in terms of captaincy. I want to get some captaincy right. So yeah, more goals for Lukaku, more for Kane if I get him in. Perhaps for Sanchez if he gets on form. But yeah, lots of captain goals.
Just watch for Tony Marshall this week. From now on, I've sold him now. He's going to go on a run.
See, so what a revelation. You've gone Marshall to, let me think, let's ponder this. So that is your transfer. Marshall to Aguero, you've done, have you?
Yeah.
Right.
And I had to do it on Saturday night as well. Something I tend not to want to do is because I was bang on the money. Because Marshall had gone down and Aguero was about to go up. So I wouldn't have been able to do the straight transfer. I wanted to do it and not have to worry about that transfer the rest of the week. I might actually still spend 4.
Are you not worried that he could play tomorrow night and pick something up? Pick a knock up? Could do. Yeah. Presumably he's got to play in Europe, hasn't he?
Well, no. I mean, City will qualify, but I think he will play to get match practice. I think I think he will play. He'll play part of the game to get him ready for the 90 minutes on Saturday.
So like me, you'll be watching it like that. That'll be me every Saturday now, watching City. You'll be doing that tomorrow night. Yeah, I think it'll be right. So,
if he gets injured, he gets injured. I've lost 4 points. But,
yeah.
Generally, I wouldn't do that. It was just being bang on the money, and I felt I had to do it. Otherwise, I'd be regretting it.
Okay, armband straight on him. Southampton at home.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't have to think about the armband again, do I?
That's it, isn't it, for the whole season? Yeah. See, that didn't do me any good. That's the trouble. That's one of the reasons why I'm also avoiding Aguero, because I'll just stick it on him and then.
I know, and it didn't work. And it didn't work at the beginning of the season, and lost loads of ground to Andy, and now he's just run away with the league. Yeah.
So maybe it's a good thing. John T, your transfer, your captain.
Well, I've still got Payet stinking up my team.
Yeah, you've got a problem, haven't you? I've just looked
at it. So
you know,
I need to do a bit of surgery. That's what I planned last week. I took a hit. I'm going to take another hit this week and possibly the week after if I get Aguero in. So this week I'm going to probably get one of these lovely Bournemouth midfielders in.
Are you? So the 5th mid's coming in. What for Payet?
For Payet, and I've had enough of Juan Mata. I'm sick to death of Van Gaal, Man U.
We know.
And so I'm thinking getting Özil in for him for a hit. And then the following week, that leaves me enough money in the bank to do Pella to Kane, or Pella and De Bruyne to Aguero and someone else.
Okay.
You're going to be short, aren't you? If you're not getting rid of Pella and Payet this week, you're going to be short.
Well, he's going to play Richards. You're going to play Richards at home to Watford, Moreno at home to Swansea, Bellerin at Norwich.
I've got a good defence this week. Yeah, very good. Yeah, so I've got Dan against Newcastle.
At home. Palace at home, they're reliable, aren't they?
There he is again, getting the jibe in.
And also Granville got Jack Butland, another player you've managed to avoid.
Yeah, how's your keeper, Granville?
My Hill.
Yeah.
He's done pretty well, you know.
Well, he's not a Butland, is he? Not a Butland going to Sunderland, no more. So my transfer, I don't know. I am toying with Dejan Lovren. That can't be right, can it? I can't believe I'm even uttering those words. I'm delirious or something. I think I'm going to bank my transfer. I think that's intimidating, isn't it? That's the equivalent, as I said before, of in an exam asking for more paper, being the first one to ask for more paper. Everyone around you gets intimidated. Oh, he's already filled out. Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to bank my transfer and intimidate you both. And hopefully that mind games, really? See? Mind games.
That's what you can afford to do that when you've had a good week.
Yeah, it is.
You're still stinking out the place with your rank though, Mark.
Well,
I'm not much better, but it's pretty poor at this stage of the season.
I'm pretty confident I'm going to be above you. I reckon Kane and Lukaku, they're going to do the business again this weekend, and then I think I'll be overtaking them. There's so little in it now, 3 points. John T, I think it's going to be. I think you're going to be a few weeks before you're catching up, but no doubt you'll turn it around. The Dullard gene will come to the fore, and you're straight in there with Özil, which is a Dullard's pick, isn't he? He's a poster boy.
He's king of the Dullards.
He likes it, yeah. Steady.
Yeah, he's great.
He loves it. Steady 8, 9 points.
Steady Eddie, 9 points.
What's wrong with Mata anyway? He's just had a bad run, hasn't he?
It's just Manchester United can't really attack. You never know who's going to score. If it's Jesse Lingard or one of these players, and then.
Well, there you go. You're talking about a 5th midfielder.
Well,
in fact,
and
I've got
then
another name. I've got Jesse Lingard. I've got another name for you, Dele Alli.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a player. You don't have to play. Of course, you don't play him. You just have I mean, he has shots as well. He's not bad.
Mm.
He's a good player.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a revelation, actually.
I reckon, but Jonty set his aren't a Bournemouth player. Of course he has. Look at that! Look at that table he's made. It's cherries all over the place. It's like a fruit machine, that table. He's definitely going to Bournemouth player. Thanks so much, gentlemen, for joining me. Thanks, Granville. It's good to be in sniffing distance of Granville's team. Who knows, next week I may well have caught him. It all depends on Sergio and his hamstrings and his performance against Southampton. Let's see. Kane versus Aguero, round 1, starts at the weekend. John T, thanks very much for joining us as well with your community questions and Rough with the Smooth. We'll see you all, listener, next week. Thanks very much for listening. It's a good night for me.
Good night.
And good night.